Today, we're going to take a look at digital notebooks and offer some tips and tricks to help you out. Some of the tips that I'm going to go over with you today are first, how you can set up material to add to this during the course of the school year. Second, how you can actually make it work with students who have accommodations that you need to provide notes for. And finally, we'll take a look at some extras that I think might really be beneficial to help you if you are interested in using this platform. So one of the most common ways that you're probably going to want to be able to use this to update your students' work over the course of the year and keep everything organized in one place is to add new material in Google Classroom. So for example, I want to give my students an activity that focuses on research. So the first thing I would need to do is to go and create material. And I'm going to be focusing on a subject called the CRAP test, which is a way of verifying source information. So I take my existing work that I've already done, it's in Google Slides. And so for material, your students are going to be able to see this. As I am putting together my information, I've applied it. So I put the slideshow in. Then I'm going to go to research for the topic that it's under. Then I'm going to hit post. And so it'll show up as material rather than as an assignment. I would use this if I were planning on providing notes, or if you want to have them add activities to your notebook as the semester goes on. So let's go and take a look at this assignment. And so this might be a one-day activity where I have my instructions on one slide, I have a little video for them to watch, as well as some notes, an article. And if you notice, I say that the students need to answer the questions on slides 6 and 7 and copy their completed answers into their digital notebook. When I was setting this up, I realized after the fact that they're only going to be able to complete this in their notebook, not off of the actual Google slide. So I can copy both of these at once for slides 6 and 7. And then if I'm a student, I go to my digital notebook, and then I come into an area where I have my slides. I hit paste. And when I hit paste, it's going to prompt me to do one of two things. I can either keep original styles or I can match styles in this presentation. You're going to want to match styles in this presentation, and the reason for that is because if you keep original styles, we've found that this actually ends up really making it difficult to use the template further. When it's initially brought in from the outside, it's going to show you that it's on a lined sheet of paper. Now, if you want to make sure that a student's work is exactly you could hit keep original styles, but you're going to want to make sure that if they do that, they have other slides in the template, because otherwise they're not going to be able to generate new template slides. But if you really want them to keep everything as is, you can have them copy and paste it over. So that's how you are able to copy material as you go on. This is also going to be helpful when talking about helping your students who have access to notes, such as Blue is for You. If you make your slides available to them as material, you can actually send it out only to individual students. And then you can have them copy and paste the key information over into their notebooks as well. So those are some key ways of how we can get more material to continue to build so it's not static. And the other avenue that we'll be talking about in a second is some tips and tricks to help your students add new material and some more advanced things that they can do. So that's what we will cover next. So let's say that we have an exit ticket, and what you want to see students be able to do is demonstrate that they understand the similarities and differences of a concept that you've covered. So let's say that I'm in algebra, for example, and I'm sorry, Bailey and Melissa, for what I'm about to do here, but here we go. So let's say that your exit ticket is you want students to compare and contrast a linear function versus a exponent, an exponential equation. So you can go to image, go to search the web. That'll pull up on the side. Let's say I want to have a Venn diagram. Venn diagram template. Then I can go down to this picture right here. I can hit insert. This is going to create a situation where you're going to have the exit ticket, and then if you want your students to be able to actually fill this out, you go to text box. And so let's say that now this is going to require a little bit of time, so you're going to want to make sure that you give your students plenty of time. So linear equations. Let's say that the other side is exponent. And then, of course, in the center with another text box, we have both. In order to be able to write in each box, I'm going to have to insert a text box here. Y equals mx plus b for both. Involve variables, exponential, can say requires exponents. And So obviously this would probably not be enough to get a complete exit ticket because you're wanting to see other material, but this is how students could provide an opportunity, a way for this. The other way is if they are somebody who prefers doing things by hand, they can write out the Venn diagram. So they can physically draw it out on a piece of paper, and then if you want them to copy and paste your exit ticket that you did on paper into your notebook, so that way you don't have to hold on to it. It's preserved so that they can go back and look at later. They can go to Insert, Image, and then they can use their camera to take a picture of the Venn diagram, as long as it's easy to view. It also might be possible that they need to go and take a look at some other issues, like needing to just take it on their picture so that way you can see it. That's something that it's all going to depend on the technology resources of our students. Now, here's another fun thing that you can do. So, for example, in your notes, the linear equation, y equals mx plus b. Let's say that you want your students to be able to actually show you that they understand what this means. And so you ask them, I want to see a linear equation example in your notes. Or if there's somebody who's visually minded, you might allow them to go to File, go to Insert, go to Image, go to Search the web. It'd help if I actually knew what I was doing with this a little bit. Search the web. Linear equation. Let's see what comes up. Oh, look at that. Here's an example here's an example that they can have forever. And then you can say, okay, let me see your notes. Does your equation look like a linear equation? If it looks like a scattered dot, a dot plot, then you obviously know that something's amiss. But this is a way to help make it more interactive and meaningful for your students. The last piece of advice I want to give you comes down to the idea of, are all of these templates for the slides that we have necessary? These are the starting point. That's why if you go and you take a look at the adding new material, I suggested making it so that you can easily provide material so that students can access and import in. Now, this all depends upon how you want to use this. If you want the notebook to solely be a place where only your notes are, that's one thing. Another thing you can have students do, and this is going out specifically to the ELA teachers with regards to writing, is if you want students to be able to read another person's work, maybe you provide an opportunity for students to have their peer review be written into the notebook. So for example, let's say that Ms. Goins is going to give me some feedback on some writing. I can put the link to my writing inside my digital notebook, and she can read it, and then she can put in as either bell work or as an exit ticket some feedback that she can turn in to our teacher that says, today I read Mr. Bloss's notes. I would like him to really focus on a couple of things, perhaps grammar and not using run-on sentences as much. Perhaps he's just a little too nerdy and he needs to actually get a little bit more serious about things. These are all tools that you can use with the template. If there is something that you want to add, then just remember and follow the steps at the start of this video, which are when you have students import that material and put it into their notebooks, and you're concerned that something might get lost, just make sure to hit when on the import option to use the original. That will make it so that everything should transfer over. I know that this is a lot, and I know that we are all trying to really figure out the best way to make this work for our students. I really think this is going to be an opportunity for us to be able to provide an option for digital learning that takes away the excuse from students of things being left at home or things being left at school. That organizational structure, I think, is going to be really important, because what many of our college students have learned over this exercise of COVID-19 is that we sometimes are going to lose material, but this makes it accessible to our students throughout the entirety of their years in Northwest ISD. And I think that really is going to be a powerful tool to help all of our students, whether they're an Avid or if they are any other student. So thanks so much for your time. And if there are any questions that come up over the course of the rollout of this initiative, I'm just an email away. I really want this to be able to work. And so I will do whatever I can in my power to help you, because I think this is just a great foundational instructional strategy of organization for all of our students. Thanks so much, Lions, and I look forward to seeing you soon.